Hello everybody, welcome back to the show. Today, we're gonna be doing something called a debate. I know, crazy. Who would have guessed? Anyways, the topic of today's debate is gonna be Christian fundamentalism. And, I have invited a guest to speak on my show, or really just, to debate me, who I believe has referred to himself as a Christian fundamentalist. I'm pretty sure. He'll probably correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure he's a Christian fundamentalist. So yeah. Anyways, without further ado, or maybe a little bit of further ado, who knows? It's hard to say. I don't know. I guess it's a mystery, but I'm gonna be calling him in a few seconds, probably. Alright. Gotta put my headphones on. Alright. Is he gonna answer the call? Hello.
Hello? Hello?
How are you doing? On this
I'm doing wonderful. Are you live right now? Did you just call me?
Yes, that is how I do debates. I am
you
in fact live.
You sprung it on me?
Hey, that's just how it's gotta be sometimes, you know?
Oh man, I want to get my camera set up and all that.
Ooh,
Man, you're bad at setting up your debates, man. You should have gave me an hour in advance to
well, you
do
see,
it, man.
you know, I just kind of wing everything, you know. It's gotta live life.
I want
gotta
to chill the stream, and now I gotta go search up your channel.
You gotta live
man.
life on the edge, you know. You gotta just kind of do stuff, you know. That's just how I do it, at least.
I love the thumbnail. That's red pill. That's so base.
I'm glad. I knew you would like it. I always put a lot of time and effort into my.
How should I
thumbnails.
clickbait this? Should I say debating a tranny? Should I say that?
I mean, I don't know if that might be a TOS issue though. To be fair, I don't know.
Care. It's that. I don't.
I mean, whatever you think will get views.
Saying it on your stream.
Yeah. I know that YouTube
it
is
matter to me.
more likely to take down not take down, but be against a video. Sorry, I'm spacing out. Hello, Minty. Welcome to the stream. I guess I probably should announce my live stream on my Discord. I obviously haven't done that yet because with me being me, you better believe I don't actually plan things ahead of time, other than just, vaguely alluding to when my next stream probably will be, potentially, if I don't change my mind last second or be lazy.
It's a bad character trait, bro.
It's a great character trait. I don't know what you mean. Now I'm gonna ping everybody on my Discord saying currently.
I'm just a nice guy, right? I'm a nice guy, but if you're trying to get the big guests on your show, you want to plan this stuff, a week.
Well, yeah, I did a little bit of planning with the Jalen interview. I spent 5 minutes writing a few questions before I went live. So, it's sometimes I do in fact, yeah.
I've turned on my camera. Do you like my drip?
Hell yeah, I do.
My drip. Do you like my
Alright, wait, hold on.
Drip?
There we go, yeah. Now they can see it.
Am I straight dripalicious? Am I
You better believe you are.
Oh,
Hell
no,
yeah.
I'm using the wrong mic. There we go. Does that sound better?
So, it sounds fine to me. It sounds the same though. I don't know.
Hello?
I think you were always using the right mic. It's good.
Did I just unplug my headphones or bruh?
I have no idea.
I unplugged my headphones like a retard.
We all do that sometimes.
I think.
I'm gonna try and do a thing, and I'm honestly gonna forget to do this, but like, okay, so anyone watching the stream knows I have two different modes. I have full screen my camera mode and then react mode, and I'm gonna try and have it be on react mode while you're talking, and like on like full screen my camera mode.
I didn't unplug my headphones. Discord just decided to play my audio out of my mic.
I mean, that's a Discord moment right there. Let me just play my own stream, just to make sure that the audio is good. Don't change my mind last
I didn't
second
hear you.
or be lazy.
I got it.
I mean,
hold on.
that's...
We good?
We all do that sometimes.
Hold on. Okay.
All right.
This is a great stream right here. We're going like, hold on, guys.
Don't worry. People watching the VOD or listening to this as a podcast always know that I always put timestamps in the description after the fact, except for when I don't do that, which is sometimes as well. But you know, you better believe I'm not ever gonna be consistent about anything. But yeah,
you gotta be careful about getting banned on YouTube, because they won't let me put timestamps in my videos anymore.
See,
they just won't let me do it.
And this is why I don't recommend making your title what did you say, debating a tranny, even though it's funny. I would not recommend that, to be honest. I mean, for anyone watching the stream, I mean, if this outfit... Oh, jeez. I always stand on my chair when I show off my outfits, and it's very scary. But, oh, I don't know if you can see it with the lighting. If this doesn't look like a tranny outfit to you, I don't know what does. But, oh, jeez. Anyways.
I can't see your outfit, but... Whatever.
Oh, that is a fair point. Hold on. Oh, wait, I might be able to... Oh wow! Now I'm using two cameras. Isn't that funny? Now I have one on my stream that I'm looking at. And now I'm looking at the webcam. Oh, it's beautiful. Absolutely perfect.
Oh my gosh! This is real. So this is real. So we're really here. I'm talking to Femyoz.
Femyoz, the greatest YouTuber of all time.
Femyoz.
Yeah.
So. Should we I guess we want to recount the story of how this all came together. So I think I yelled at you and I said, "Repent to Christ!" on Twitter.
Some shit like that.
Because I saw that you were gay, and I hate gay people because I'm a homophobe, and I'm a Christian fundamentalist, and so I hate gay people, and and I want to stone
that's not
them.
a very loving, love thy neighbor mindset. Ooh, I don't know about that one, Chief. I mean, but yeah, no, I have a better recollection of the story. You see, one day when I was eating a printed out picture of Count Dooku, I decided that I was gonna scroll on Twitter, and being the libtard soy boy cuck I am, decided to angrily reply to people in order to try and convince them to push the trans agenda with me, because we need to, you know, the Jewish cabal keeps growing in size, and we gotta, you know, like, take over the world, right? And that's how we do it. But then somebody out of nowhere told me to find Jesus. Enraged, I decided to write 15 paragraphs in response to this, in order to start a debate. So yeah, that's how we got here. But all right. Anyways, all jokes aside, I think we should start the debate now.
Well, I want to say some things about our meeting here, how we met each other. I mean, it's a true love story.
Yes.
It's a true love story. I'm in love with Femyoz.
Hell yeah! Is this how you're coming out?
No. But. No, I thought this would be an interesting conversation. I don't really want to have a debate, okay? Like I'm not gonna lie, I'm bad at debating people.
No, it's okay. I'm not.
Every debate. I mean, the only people I've ever debated are like Catholics and like my retarded fans that just like spam me with comments, and they're like, you need to support Israel as a Christian, they tell me, and stuff like that. So those are the only people I debate, and pretty much every debate except with my low IQ fans I have lost. So we're having a discussion. This is not a debate. This is not
No,
a
that's
debate.
fair. Like, and
But
when
the reason I wanted to talk to you is because I found it like very interesting scrolling through your channel. I watched I didn't watch like all your videos, but I watched a couple of your videos.
Hell yeah.
And I thought it was very interesting because you and me were actually very similar. You and me, we're just two different sides of the same coin. I think you and me will be doing this forever. But anyways, so
at play.
Yeah, no, but I actually thought that this would be like really interesting because I started off, I was like a commentary drama YouTuber, which that's how you started off, right?
Yeah. That actually is kind of, well, yeah. Well, I started out as like, as a YouTube poop creator, actually.
Oh, dude, me too.
No fucking way.
Yes.
We literally are like on like different sides of the same coin. Because it's funny because you said you used to be atheist, right? And then you became Christian.
Yeah.
I used to be Christian and I became atheist.
Yeah.
So,
and you want to know something? Something even more wild than that. That I thought this is why we need to have a conversation, right? So there's a little known fact about New Eastons, because I don't think my fans are like ready for this like bombshell. I don't think they're like mentally prepared for this. But I used to be a homosexual. So it's like we're like
you're still a homosexual.
No, I'm not still a homosexual.
Okay, then you're bisexual. If you have the choice, you're
I'm
bisexual.
not bisexual.
Yes, you are.
I'm not bisexual.
Yes, you are. Don't lie.
No, me and you, see, we have two different worldviews. You have this like belief that you're born with your sexuality, and I don't believe you're born with your sexuality.
That's because you're bi.
That, your sexuality is malleable.
If you're bi, yes. Not everybody is bisexual, though.
I'm not bisexual, though.
Well, clearly you are. If your sexuality is malleable, then chances are you're bisexual. If you have the choice to, be attracted to men or women, then you are, by definition, bisexual, because you have that option, right? Somebody who is homosexual is exclusively attracted to men and can only be attracted to men. Unless it's a woman that's homosexual, obviously, but you get what I'm saying, right? And vice versa. A man who is heterosexual is exclusively attracted to women and only women.
So like you're just gonna tell me my lived experiences? Jeez, man.
Well, I'm not telling you your lived experience. I am taking.
You're gonna tell me my lived experiences?
Well, no, not necessarily. I am taking what you have described. And
I haven't described very much. I said one thing. I said one sentence,
you said that
and you're just like,
well, hold on,
you're jumping on this.
Well, you said you used to be homosexual, but that you're not anymore. It is proven that being gay is not a choice, okay? There's a reason that
I would argue it's actually not proven.
Okay, then why doesn't conversion therapy work?
It does work, actually.
Source?
My lived experiences.
Your lived experience. So do you know better than all of the psychologists and medical institutions?
Yeah, I do, actually.
Really?
Yes.
So yes. You've conducted your own study.
Yes. And conversion therapy, well, it depends what you mean by conversion therapy. So like most conversion therapy that you're going to go through, like in general, is going to be like this like weird like mental abuse, basically. It's just like a bunch of like fundamentalists, like Christians who like hate blacks and hate gays, and they're like they just like berate you, basically, and they put you through like torture, and they think somehow through like torturing you you're going to stop being gay. And I don't believe that works at all. But I think that if you turn to Jesus and you turn to God and you become a believer, you repent, to Christ. And when I say repentance, I don't mean repenting of your sins. I mean changing what you believe in and believing in the gospel. That will actually change you.
Okay, that's interesting. So what you're saying is that when you subscribed to a Christian worldview, you suddenly stopped being attracted to men. Is that correct?
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, damn. That is I mean, I guess there's always going to be an exception for everything, right? I will say that well, like, were you okay, so before you were Christian, were you like insecure about the fact that you were homosexual, or did you just not give a shit?
I kind of didn't give a shit. And I was really a really sick and degenerate person, to be honest.
Well, hold on.
with you.
Okay. So you didn't try to be attracted to women.
No.
Okay. What I think happened, and I could be wrong on this, but what I believe happened here is you've always been attracted to both men and women, and naturally, you are more attracted to men than women. But now that you subscribe to a Christian worldview, you have built up probably some sort of self-hatred and sense of disgust with homosexuality. So now you are really just a closeted bisexual. So you were always attracted to women. That's my guess. Now, I'm not trying to tell you what your experience is, but that's just what it comes across as to me. That's just my opinion, though.
So how are you like figuring this out, though?
I mean, I'm not trying to tell you what your experience is. That's just sort of the impression I'm getting, based off of what you've told me and what I know, about queer people in general.
See,
because,
well, okay, can I go off of that though?
Sure.
See, I think a lot of people really don't know themselves, and like that's something that I think our society in the modern day is severely lacking, is that most people don't self-reflect and think about like, why am I the way that I am? What experiences did I have in my life that influenced me to become the person that I am? Most people just kind of are just living, and whenever they experience any kind of negative emotion, they just try to drown out that negative emotion through vice and through, like, whether that be doing pills, smoking weed, drinking, watching porn, whatever.
All right.
And eating, that's also something else.
Okay.
And
you
watching
kind of have a point.
entertainment, consuming entertainment.
Okay, yeah,
And people don't think about that. People don't think about where do your beliefs, where do your inner feelings come from. I mean, sorry for cutting you off.
I actually like kind of agree with a lot of what you're saying here. You know, and now I don't think that like that like having this as like a go-to coping strategy sometimes, well, aside from like the drugs and alcohol thing, is necessarily bad if it's done in moderation. However,
doing what?
I do agree that like
doing what as a coping mechanism? I just
relaxing, you know, like entertaining yourself a little bit just to like reset yourself. You know what I mean? Like I think that like okay, watching a little bit of TV every now and again is pretty good, right? As long as you're not like doing it like 24/7. Right.
I don't know.
Well,
I guess so, yeah. Like sometimes you just
Yeah.
gotta sit down, you gotta smelt some iron ore, you gotta
that too.
consume
I
some
love-
boy slop.
No, playing Minecraft is
consume.
unironically one of the best ways to relax, especially when it comes to like if you're like a builder like me and you're like good at building and like you're like really creative in that way, like it can be like really relaxing and like soothing. And it's like there's like the dun 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 dun, dun like the fucking Minecraft
Dude, it's
music.
so
It's
real,
so
the
relaxing.
Minecraft music.
It
man.
just helps me reset a little bit, you know? But yeah, I think that like what you described with like the you know, people avoiding their emotions, that is a genuine problem. But and as somebody you know, I still do struggle with like being a little bit too repressive sometimes, right? Like there are times where like I'm by myself and I'm feeling really fucking depressed, right? But I'm like physically incapable of crying because I've been repressing all of my emotions for so long, right? It's like only within the last year have I like been more like vulnerable with things like that, right? Through like a bunch of therapy and shit. You know, but being more vulnerable, like, it is part of what led me to like the whole like femboy thing, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I've almost had like the opposite experience.
Yeah. So I think that's another big part of the problem. I'm not trying to like say anything about you. I'm just talking about people in general. But a lot of people, they aren't self-reflective. They don't think like for themselves, and they're like, why am I the way that I am? And instead what they do, if they even think about it at all, is they turn to people like Jordan Peterson. They turn to these online internet gurus. I
Yeah.
doubt you like Jordan Peterson. I hate Jordan
No.
Peterson. I
Okay.
fucking hate that guy.
Base.
So, but these people,
Base.
they let Jordan Peterson think for them. They let, you know, whoever it is they're
Facts.
listening to think for
Andrew
them.
Tate and Sneeko and Aiden Ross and all of those shitters. I swear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
Like,
hate all of them as well. So I'm glad we agree on that
Sneeko's
at least.
better than I will admit Sneeko's better than Jordan Peterson. You gotta admit that. But he's still
Ooh, I don't
fucking
know about
awful,
that
bro.
one. Oh, that's hard to say.
Well,
Nah,
he's like high energy though, and he's like bass, and he's
he's
like black.
so annoying. I hate his voice.
Yeah, but that's like funny though.
No, like he's like not even funny anymore. Like it was funny at first, but like it's just like he's just like kind of cringe now. Like he's a complete fucking cuck. Like I'm sorry.
Well, he's
I
not a
have
Christian,
no respect
you know,
for
so
him.
that's what's up with him. But
I don't know.
no,
I
but
don't respect
people,
him at all.
they don't search themselves. They search the internet and they say, "Internet, what's wrong with me? Internet, why do I feel like shit?"
No, I agree with
And
that.
that's kind of what happened to me, right? So like I said, I was a total sexual degenerate. You wouldn't consider me a sexual degenerate,
No,
but
I
I
think what you
now
used to do was valid.
consider myself a sexual degenerate.
So why do
And
you consider yourself a sexual degenerate?
well, number one, there's lots of angles I can take on this, and I'm trying to not be vulgar.
Just say whatever you
So
think, so we can get to the root of the
the
issue.
least vulgar the
No,
the
just say
least
say the
vulgar
most
part.
vulgar. Say the most vulgar
Oh, the
part.
most vulgar part is that you're shitting on another man's dick.
Well,
That's the most
that's
vulgar
why you
part.
clean your asshole first.
But see, that's the thing. Clearly, right, your body has like a function and a purpose. And the purpose of your penis and your testicles are there so that you can impregnate an egg in a woman.
So,
Right? That's why you
why
produce
should I
sperm.
care? Why should I care what the intended
Because
purpose of something is? If
that's a very good
serves
question.
multiple purposes, I don't see the issue there. I mean, we
But
use
see, it
things
doesn't.
for the.
I don't think
Hold
it
on,
does.
I want to
It doesn't.
continue. Hold on, we
Alright,
use
go ahead.
things for
Sorry.
the wrong, like the not intended purpose or whatever, like all the fucking time, right?
Yeah.
Let's say like I don't know, if we take a book for example, right? Maybe like before I had a tripod for my phone that I record with. I used to like put it like a bunch of stuff behind it. That's not that stuff's intended purpose, but like there's nothing wrong with me using it that way, right? Like that's not immoral. Like it's there's more than one purpose.
Yeah, in that case, but I don't think that's like a great analogy. Like it's
Why
an
not?
analogy, but I don't think it explains the situation.
So what is the issue? What is the
So
distinction?
I think no matter whether or not you're an atheist or you're a Christian, the atheist, the Christian, and every other whatever the fuck you believe, you can all come to the same conclusion, which is that human beings are designed. Now, you're either designed by
Designed.
God or you're designed by natural selection.
Okay, why does that
But
matter,
the fact
though?
is, right, well, this is why it matters, right? So let's just take the argument that you're created by evolution. You're created by
Yeah.
random chance, natural selection, pressures of nature. So if that's how you're designed, then that means that evolutionarily, the way your brain is designed is you will be happiest when you are doing things that maximize your survival and maximize your health.
So you have
And
decided.
so when you're doing things that are
So you have
anti
decided what
your
makes me
health
happy?
and against your survival.
So you have
Yeah.
decided.
Yes.
So you have arbitrarily decided what you deem
No, I haven't
to make other people
arbitrarily
happy.
decided.
Well, yes, you have. Because I know what makes me happy. I'm happier dressing as a femboy. So, I'm happier, you know, with like I honestly prefer like I'm bi, but I honestly prefer doing anal over doing vaginal. Like, I don't know, maybe I just like things in my ass, who knows. But
Yeah,
like,
and
that's
anyone can
besides
say
the
whatever.
point.
Anyone can say whatever. They can say,
Okay.
"Oh, I like smoking weed," and it's like,
Well, yeah.
well, when they
but-
stop smoking weed, they're having heart palpitations.
Okay, we're not
great
talking
anxiety.
about we're not talking about smoking weed, which has health ramifications potentially. We are talking about you know, homosexual
so
sex, and don't bring up
in your poopy hole. So just putting
well,
they
it's not
have
it's not
health
it's not it's not poopy
ramifications
it's
too.
not poopy if you wash it beforehand, okay? You
It's
just gotta
still
do
your poopy hole. It's your
Okay,
colon.
and-
It's your asshole. It's your
and-
anus. It's
I-
not a vagina.
and I give a
It's
shit
not
because
a vagina.
and I give a shit because yes, pun intended, by the way.
You don't have to give a shit. I'm
Okay,
just
well,
like saying what
so why
it
is it
is.
why is that
You're pooping on another
so-
man's dick. You're pooping
Well,
out
no,
another man's penis.
I don't actively take a shit on somebody or their dick. Okay,
Yeah,
there is a
okay.
distinction there. I think that either way, like, even if you think it's gross, whatever, but that doesn't even make it immoral necessarily. Like, what is the objective harm that is being caused?
What is the objective harm that you're going to be unhappy and you're not going to fulfill like your happiness?
What are
You're
you
not gonna end
using
up
to
being happy.
determine that it makes other people unhappy?
Well, is there any kind of objective value at all? Do you believe that there's anything that's like bad always?
I would say that in general, in terms of like my moral axioms, I generally believe that it is good to maximize positive emotions for humanity and to minimize negative ones. So to maximize the
So
positive
you're
outcomes and
arbitrarily
experiences.
deciding what happiness
Well,
is.
It's a
Yeah, you
mutually
are.
well no in I believe in the concept of doing things in society that are mutually beneficial for everybody, right? So, for
But
instance,
how can you define that?
well, obviously you have to like, let's say, for instance, the concept of freedom. Why is freedom important? Well, the reason I think it's important is because I might not like the way you live, and you might not like the way I live, but it is mutually beneficial for both of us to accept the way the other person lives, rather than
think so.
trying to shit on the other person for living a certain way, right? Like that,
I'm
so
not
that would
trying to
be
shit on
mutually
you, by the way.
beneficial. What?
Just so you know, I'm not trying to shit
No,
on
I
you.
know. I'm just giving like an example, right? Of something that would be mutually beneficial,
okay.
and that is generally the type of logic I use to determine what is or isn't good or bad, right? And obviously philosophy is going to be complicated no matter what, even if you have a lot of good axioms to go off of. You know, the building blocks for philosophy, if you will. That doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to be complicated. However, I don't think it is fair for you to make this unsubstantiated claim that gay sex somehow makes people less happy. What are you using to come to this conclusion?
Well, what I'm using to come to this conclusion is experience and reason, experimentation.
So you are taking your own experience. Well, hold on. You are taking your own experience and extrapolating it onto all gay people. Do you not see why there's an issue with that?
I'm not just taking my own experience.
Well, that's what you just said.
Well, you're wrong. I'm not just taking my own experience.
Then what else?
So I'm taking my personal experience because I know that, like, well, I don't know, but I'm assuming you're like against your own what's the word, like, personal stories,
anecdotal
or whatever,
evidence.
that as arguments.
Well, yeah, because it doesn't mean shit.
Against anecdotal evidence.
Yeah,
I think
I can give you anecdotal evidence that says to make the opposite argument. If I were to use your own logic, okay, and I'm not saying that this is my position or argument, but I could use your same logic and say that all men should become femboys because, in my experience, making a femboy has made me way happier. So clearly, you know, because I am of the male sex, everybody else of the male sex should do what makes me happy. I mean, clearly, this is the right thing to do because it makes me happy, so it'll make everybody else happy. That is why I have an issue with that type of argumentation, because it doesn't mean shit. Well, I would need you to have, like, an actual, like, source that demonstrates that gay people are less happy when they're in homosexual relationships than when they're in heterosexual relationships. You would need to provide me with that. Of course, you can't do that because there is no such source. Like, a source like that doesn't exist, because it is objectively incorrect. Homosexual people are happier when they're in homosexual relationships, generally speaking.
Yeah, but see, here's the whole problem. You're contradicting yourself. How can you define happiness? Well, you can't really.
It's a series of chemical reactions that occurs within your brain. Things like dopamine, etc. Right? And you can determine. Well, hold on. No, stop.
Don't talk over me. Don't talk over me.
No, I'm talking. No, I'm talking because you said something fucking stupid. You said something stupid, and I need to correct you.
I haven't even finished my point.
Hold on. Well, because you're already misrepresenting my argument. Okay.
I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna leave.
Okay. Well, that's a you problem. That's you losing the debate.
I'm gonna leave.
Okay. As I was saying. No.
So, like I was saying, right?
Yes, there is self-reporting involved, but if we are taking a large sample size of people self-reporting, then we can determine that, oh, well, if the majority of gay people self-report that they are happier in homosexual relationships, then how are you going to then say that gay people are less happy when they're in gay relationships when you are statistically negligible, really?
So, can I make my point now?
Go ahead.
Or are we just gonna, like, keep, like, spurging out and getting upset because I'm saying something contradictory?
Well, I had to correct you from saying stupid shit.
See, you're getting really angry, right? You're getting really angry. So you're, like, really emotionally invested in what we're talking about. You know, you're not coming at this with an open mind. This is not relevant
to the discussion.
Well, I think it is relevant.
No,
because we're the people having a discussion, and you're not coming at this with an open mind.
Can you get to the fucking point?
Yeah, see, you're, like, getting really angry over this. Okay. Why are you so angry?
No, because you said stupid shit. Now, can you get to the point that you were trying to make?
Okay. So, anyways, what my point is, right, is that it's still just self-reporting. And I can self-report, anyone can self-report anything. Like I said, people can self-report that, like, doing meth makes them happier. Is that, like, actually real, though? Is doing heroin actually, like, really make someone happier? It's like, well, what are you doing when you do heroin? Well, you heat up the heroin in the spoon with a lighter.
Yeah,
you get the needle. You inject it in your arm. You puke and you pass out. And the puking and passing out is the most euphoric experience that you've ever had. Okay. And it's like, well, that's not really happiness. And it's like, if we want to just, like, you know, judge happiness on self-reporting or whatever, and then it's like, we should just put everyone on heroin, right? Like, that would make more sense. That would make more sense if you want to make people happy.
This is a completely false equivalency. Because heroin
How is it a false equivalency?
Because heroin has been scientifically proven to have negative effects on people, whereas gay sex has not, and gay relationships have not. Gay sex...
It definitely does. It definitely does.
And what would the negative effects be? Like, you would need some sort of, like, science to back you up.
STDs,
okay, so, all right,
general,
well,
and there's
I'm gonna
more
stop
stuff
you there.
than
All right, hold on, STDs. So you would be fine with two men jerking each other off then, right? Because there's
No.
a 0% chance of, oh, okay, so it's not STDs.
Because it's not just STDs.
So then,
I just said
do
it's
you
one
concede the
thing.
STDs point then? Because clearly it's not STDs if you're not okay with two men jerking each other off.
Well,
Clearly you don't have a problem with
irrational.
STDs. I mean, you can get STDs from sex that's heterosexual as well. So clearly you don't have a problem with STDs.
No, I do have a problem with STDs. You shouldn't be having a bunch of heterosexual sex. You shouldn't be having heterosexual sex. If you call it an STD from having heterosexual sex,
okay. So
you're
well,
committing
okay.
a sin.
If the problem you have is STDs,
I'm an
then
incel.
you would be fine.
Incel pilled.
Okay.
We're incel
if
pilled.
the problem you had was STDs, then you would be fine with people using sex toys on each other or jerking each other off. You are not.
No.
So clearly, it is not STDs that you have a problem with. So that completely destroys that argument.
No, that
Yes.
doesn't destroy the argument. You're stupid.
Yes.
No, you're not. But you're saying something stupid though, because I didn't say that was my whole argument. I said that was just one reason.
It's not a very good
And
one.
so you're saying, well, there's other things that you can do that are homosexual that won't give you STDs, so therefore
Correct.
STDs aren't an issue. And it's like, okay, well, you can have
Well, if
sex
you are going-
without getting an STD, therefore
Okay.
having unprotected sex is okay because there's a possibility you might not catch an STD.
Well, hold on.
That's
Did
what
I
you
say,
just said.
Did I say that you should have unsafe sex? Or did I say that
That's literally what you just.
No,
That's what you just. That's the same type of point you
No.
just made.
No,
I said
that is
one
not what I
of the
said.
problems.
You are lying about my
One of
argument.
the problems. I said one of the problems with homosexual. One of them
Okay.
is that you can catch STDs more frequently than having straight sex.
Okay. Yeah,
And
but
the
that's
things that
still
you
a non.
can
But
catch
that's
from
not.
it are
That's
way
not
worse.
inherent to gay
And that's
sex.
just one problem. Now that's not my whole problem with it.
Okay.
And you're saying that's your whole problem, but there's some things you can do that won't give you, and you can have gay sex without catching it.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's not an issue. It's like, okay, so
Yeah,
you
it's
can
not an issue if you don't get
fornicate-
STDs. Just
It's
have
not-
safe
there's
sex and
more
you'll be
issues,
fine.
though.
Just have safe
There's
sex
more
and you'll
issues,
be fine.
though.
Okay.
There's more issues though than just the STDs.
Okay, like
So one of the other problems with having gay sex is that I haven't really met a gay person who is happy. And I know this is
what are you
anecdotal
using
evidence.
to determine whether or not they are happy?
Well, let me ask you a question. If you're like taking a razor blade and carving insults against yourself on your
Wait,
wrists and
there-
on your thighs and on your
wait,
stomach,
Carving,
are you
self-harm,
happy?
self-harm and gay sex are not the same. You have
Are
not
you- are you-
demonstrated. You have not demonstrated that self-harm and gay sex are one and the same.
No, well, that's
You
not
have
my
decided.
point. I'm not trying to demonstrate
You have decided.
things. I'm talking.
You have
We're having
decided.
a conversation.
You have
here.
decided that because you think that gay sex is shameful, that everybody does. Is that seems like that's what your argument is? You're saying it is the same as insulting yourself. I fundamentally disagree. There is nothing shameful about it. Okay, as somebody who
I didn't
is
say it was the
very
same
sex
thing.
positive, I feel no shame. Absolutely none.
Mhm.
Zero. Zero shame, zero regret. So, if you want to go off of anecdotal evidence, if you want to be an anecdote Andy, you better believe my argument is the correct one, because I have all the anecdotal evidence in the world from
Are
my
you happy
personal.
though?
Yeah.
This is just self-reporting, right? But I'm talking about there's objective things that you can use to determine whether or not someone's happy.
Such
Right.
as.
And I don't think self-reporting is the best way to
Okay,
figure
so
that
what-
out. I
what-
think a
what-
better way to figure that out is, are they carving themselves up with a razor? Are they
What?
self-harming? Do they have a healthy relationship with the people around them?
Okay.
Like these are
Okay,
better
but
indicators.
what does this have to do with gay sex? You have decided that
That
gay sex is bad, but you
everyone
haven't
that I know that's-
substantiated it.
Everyone that I personally know that's LGBT, and I've known a lot of people because all my friends, like middle school up, were all weird LGBT people, and I was among them, one of them. And all the people that I've been surrounded with, and I live in a very liberal area, liberal state, liberal people, so it's not like they're being discriminated against. They are not happy. They are not mentally stable. And all of these people that like I talk to, and I like to just like go deep dive, like these were my deep close friends. And I would talk and talk and talk and talk for hours and hours and hours with these people. And all these people, they all have a similar story, and I have a similar story. You more than likely have a similar story, though you probably don't realize it. They all have some kind of sexual trauma, and
I
that
do not have sexual
led
trauma.
them. Well, what do you think sexual trauma is?
Trauma caused by sex. I have not. No such trauma has been incurred upon me. Now I will say that I don't have a great past. I don't look fondly upon my childhood, and if you want to make the claim, you know, if you want to jump to the conclusion that, oh, that's what caused me to be bisexual or whatever, fine. But that doesn't necessarily mean that being bisexual or having anal sex is somehow gonna make me less happy, okay? Now, you could say that there are underlying issues that led me to become a certain way, but there are some outcomes of that aren't inherently bad, okay? If I were to try and be straight, that wouldn't make me any happier, okay? If I were to go back in the closet, I would not be any happier.
Yeah, because that's not self-knowledge. I'm not talking about just like being like repressive and repressing your
That's
like
what that is.
urges. I'm talking about like overcoming them.
Overcoming
That's
them?
what
Why
we're
do I need
talking
to
about here.
overcome them? That
Because
doesn't
you're
make
gonna
any sense.
die one day.
Okay,
You're gonna die one day. You're gonna be old one day, and you're not going to look like pretty like you do now, and no one's gonna find you attractive.
That applies to women as well. So do you think that they should?
No, it doesn't. Because
Yeah,
women
it
can
does.
have children and give you babies.
Okay, so
You can't produce a baby with a man. So
I don't care.
once your beauty wears
First of all,
away,
you can
you're going to be
adopt.
alone.
First
You're
of
going to be
all,
alone.
firstly, you can adopt. Secondly, I don't want kids.
Okay, and you're going to get old, and you're going to die,
Okay.
and that's where we're all headed, man. We're all
Okay.
headed to death.
Your point?
That you need people around you who actually care about you, and you
Okay,
need
that could be
leave,
a gay
like,
partner.
children here.
Okay.
Your gay partner is going to be old and dying too.
Okay, then you can be old
So
and
who's
die
gonna
together.
take care of you? So you're
Well,
gonna
if
be
you
like
have money,
shitting
if you
yourself
have
in a diaper.
okay,
And that's another thing. Anal
well,
sex
that's what
makes
money
you
is
lose
for.
control of your sphincter, and you
Not
start
very
shitting
often.
yourself uncontrolled.
Not very
Yeah,
often.
it does. It happens pretty
Okay.
often. But, anyways, the point is you're gonna die, and it's like that's something that I don't think a lot of people consider. I don't.
No,
it's
I've
like,
considered it.
You're into this femboy stuff, and it's like you're
Yeah.
gonna die, dude. You're gonna die.
Okay. So you're saying that I shouldn't be into the femboy stuff because I will eventually die. Oh, I didn't know I was
Yeah.
gonna die, but now that I know that I am going to die one day, I better stop being a femboy. Like this doesn't make
No,
any sense.
I just don't think you're like thinking about your mortality. I don't think you're thinking
Well,
about
I'm
that.
not
You think
gonna
like you're
constantly
gonna be young
think
forever.
about my impending doom or whatever the fuck. Like, obviously, like,
I
but it's
do.
something I've considered, right? Like, it's something I've thought about quite a bit, and the conclusion that I ultimately come to every single time is, yeah, obviously I'm gonna die. I don't know if I'll be conscious after death. There's a good chance I won't be. I don't know, and it's okay that I don't know. Okay, there are a lot of
I'm
things
not
we don't
talking
know.
about the afterlife.
Okay,
That's not what I'm
but
talking
still,
about.
still,
I'm talking about like your life now. Are you going to be happy in like 30 years? Are you going to be happy in 20
yes.
years?
Yes.
Are you?
Yes.
You're gonna be happy?
Absolutely.
What, because we can think about the women that don't have children, and the women that just sleep around and do a bunch of sexually
Okay.
deviant stuff.
Then I can adopt.
They end up alone. They end up sad. They end up like mentally destroyed. You
Okay.
know.
First of all,
So
you
it's
don't
like
have.
that's what's gonna something
first
similar
of
is gonna
all,
happen to you.
So you've decided that the only way to not be lonely in your later adult life is to have kids?
That's what everyone else in all of human history did. So
Okay, so you
yeah, that's
believe.
probably
Okay, so you think that I'll still be lonely if I have plenty of friends and a romantic partner for the rest of my life, but no kids? You think I would somehow be lonely?
I don't think you're gonna have a romantic partner when you're not pretty and young, youthful looking
You think
anymore.
that people only care about looks?
Yeah, I think that gay men only care about looks.
And how are you coming to that conclusion? Is it because when you were openly gay, you cared about just looks? Is that how you're coming to that conclusion? Because I know I don't just care about looks.
No, yeah, that's what everyone says. And
No, I
people that smoke
genuinely,
weed,
I don't care that much
they
about
say-
looks. Like,
Yeah,
sure,
okay.
I'm not gonna like have sex with someone who's like 500 pounds. No, like no shit. But like, looks are not all that matters. Like, I genuinely, like, want to build emotional connections. Like, I don't
How are you gonna do that?
just by first of all, like being there for each other, and just the same way you would in a heterosexual, the same way you would in a heterosexual relationship, right?
But you're not a woman. You're not a woman, and the
So?
person fucking you in the ass is a man.
Okay.
And you're both men.
And that's
you can't
relevant
have the same
because
kind of relationship. You can't have the same kind of relationship.
according to who?
Because we're designed creatures. We're designed
Yeah, that
with
doesn't mean
particular
fucking shit,
things that
okay?
are unchangeable.
Wait, what? Okay, you mean unchangeable things like sexuality?
No, that's not something that's
Oh,
unchangeable. That's something that's changeable.
people's
Some
minds
things
are
are
changeable, but
unchangeable, and
only
some
when it's
things are
convenient for your
changeable.
argument. Okay, makes sense.
So in the Bible, right? This is my philosophy that I'm arguing for, right? So I'm gonna bring up the Bible. So in the Bible, it says that God has made man upright, which means that like humans are born being objectively good.
Like Hitler?
There's nothing, yeah, nothing is wrong with people when they're born as a baby.
Then why are there
There
people
are
that are born as
things
psychopaths
in
who
you
are
when you're born that are unchangeable, right? Like for example, you're a man. You can't when you're born a man, that's something that's like unchangeable.
Well, not
Like
necessarily.
you still have the same
No.
chromosomes. You still have the same wants.
What about
you're a
no?
male.
There are actually biological men like born with penises that have XX chromosomes. So it's obviously not chromosomes that determine that.
I don't
there
think
are-
that's real. I think you're making that up. I think
So
you need
you have decided
you need to
that
find
the scientists don't know what they're talking about, because I'm not making that
I
up.
don't think I don't think
You can look this
you've
up.
ever found that.
You
I
can look it
can
up.
Look this up.
Anyhow, it's not just chromosome. Not to mention, there's like all sorts of different intersex variants, and there's XXY, like
Yeah, and they're just like there's millions of these people. It's like saying like Down syndrome. It's like Down syndrome, bro.
well, if they're all
These
created.
people have like Down syndrome,
So you-
Klinefelter syndrome, bro.
Okay, so you laugh about this,
These
but
are
like
these are like
people,
1%
these are
of the
people that are
population.
okay. Wait,
Less
you said
than
1%.
actually. Less than 1%.
Okay, but that's
the
still a large
population.
portion of the human population.
Are
if
you
you think about it.
a Klinefelter syndrome person? Do you have Klinefelter syndrome?
There's a non-zero chance that I am, but that's besides the point. The point I am making.
You
point
don't have Klinefelters.
You don't know that. Maybe I do. There's a non-zero chance.
How tall are you? How tall are you?
5'6".
You don't have Klinefelters.
How do you know? Maybe I do. Maybe you
Because
have Klinefelters.
people who are like born a female but like they have like a penis and shit. They're they're usually tall.
They're made in God's perfect image.
Yeah. So anyways,
Yeah.
back to my point.
Wait, they're made in God's
People-
perfect image. So wouldn't that kind of destroy your argument?
How does that destroy my argument?
Because you talked about chromosomes as if that's somehow relevant to gender.
That wasn't my argument.
Okay, well that's what it sounded like, because there are people that will make these like faulty appeals to biology, so I wasn't sure if that was what you were trying to do. I think I'm getting my conservative talking points mixed up a little bit, you know.
Deal with me. Don't deal with your
I'll try my best to treat you as an individual, okay?
Deal with me.
Yeah. So first of all, can you explain then why people with gender dysphoria have brains that are structured in a way that is far closer to the average brain of the gender that they actually identify as, rather than the one they were born as? Because on average, males and females have different brains. So why would God decide to do that?
Did you know that the average porn watcher has a brain that looks almost exactly the same as a lesbian woman? Did you know that?
Source?
So does that mean that every man that watches porn is actually meant to be a lesbian?
Wait, do you have a source?
Have you pulled up a source? Are you gonna pull up the source for your thing?
Yeah, sure. If you ever want me to pull up a source for something, yeah, absolutely.
No, I don't really care about this source. This is source fagging. You don't like what I'm saying, so you're source fagging.
Well, no, it's because in order to come to
I don't really care about sources.
Of course, you don't care about the scientific consensus or actual facts or scientific data. I know you don't care about scientific data, but I do.
Yeah.
So would you like me to look up a source or not? Do you or do you not want me to look up a source? Because I can.
I don't care.
Okay, you don't care. All right, then
that's not what I'm here to argue for.
Oh, okay.
We're arguing about something else. We're not talking about fucking studies. I don't believe in studies. I think studies are gay.
All of the scientists are lying to us. That's all part of the grand conspiracy. They all work for the Jewish cabal.
No. I just don't care about science.
So you have decided that your anecdotal evidence is more valuable than actual science.
Yeah, I think that like personal experience is more important.
Okay, well, according to my own personal experience, doing gay shit has made me real happy. So.
But you're not happy. You
How do you
struggle
know?
with mental illness, and you struggle with
Nope, I don't
depression.
struggle with it anymore. I've gotten over my mental illness.
Not anymore? Not anymore? Okay.
Nope, I'm happier now.
So why were you struggling with it?
Because of... I don't want to get too personal, okay? I don't want to get too personal. But, you know, some of it... Like, I do genuinely have, like clinical depression. Like, I've had it for a really long time. Before I did any of the gay shit, by the way. You know, it's like... So the best I can do, right, is treat depression and just live my best life.
You don't have to just treat depression, now.
Yeah, well, and obviously the you know, the medication just gets me out of, like, that debilitating state. Jeez, I can't speak English. Like, that's the whole point, right? And then, like, everything else is, like, up to me, right? So, like, for instance, you know, exercising, maintaining good hygiene, eating, all that kind of shit is really good, for mental health. So, like, that's why it's good to do those things, right? So it's like, you know, I'm trying to live my best life, right? And, you know, that's basically all I can do. But really, I don't think that any of, like, the gay things I do or whatever, like, deduct from that. Like, in my experience, they haven't. They've only made me happier.
Yeah. So, and there's fat people that say being fat is happier for them than being thin.
Well,
we know
most fat people don't say that. That is a very small minority. And you know what? Maybe it does for them.
Those people say it. So it's just like whatever, like it's just stupid. It's just stupid.
I mean,
there's bigger things than that. There's more. Is
that a fat pun?
Low resolution.
Is that a fat pun?
No, that wasn't a fat pun.
That would have been clever if it was, saying there's bigger things than that. Oh well.
Right,
damn.
so it's like, you know that, you know, working out makes you mentally healthier.
Yeah.
You know, avoiding goy slop and avoiding McDonald's will make you mentally healthier.
Yeah.
So like there are things that will objectively always make your life better.
Well,
and there
yeah.
are things that will objectively always make our lives worse.
Well, okay,
because
but
we are
being gay is not one
designed
of them.
creatures. We're not even talking about that right now. I'm talking about something else. So
yeah, but we're all
we're
different,
designed
right?
creatures. We're
all
designed.
different.
We're not all different. We're all very similar, in my experience, my opinion.
I'm not similar to Hitler. I don't think. Maybe I am Femboy Hitler. I don't know.
I think all people are pretty similar to Hitler. Have you ever like hated someone before?
Okay, actually, this one I just remembered one of the main things I wanted to talk about. The concept of hell. So, do you think it is justified for God to give people infinite suffering as a result of their finite actions?
Yeah.
Why? Why do you think that the punishment
fits the crime? Because you don't realize how bad your actions are.
So you didn't realize. So you think it's fair for infinite suffering, which your finite actions are infinitesimally small in comparison to?
So, would you say this about someone who molested a child, that they don't deserve to go to hell?
For an extended period of time they do, but not infinitely.
Repping for the chomos. Let's go, bro.
I'm not saying that like they should be.
No real person.
I'm not saying.
If you had a kid and your kid got molested, you would know that child molester deserves to go to hell forever, bro.
How about like 1,000 years? I think 1,000 years is good enough. Okay. 1,000 years is a long ass time.
God doesn't think it's good enough.
Okay, I'm more compassionate than God.
Especially,
I'm more compassionate than God.
But maybe God.
Something that is
God
really
is
bad
actually
is not
more
infinitely
compassionate
bad.
than you.
The point I'm making is something really bad is not infinitely bad. That's why the punishment.
But maybe
doesn't
God's
fit the
more
crime.
compassionate than you. But God's compassionate to different people.
No, I'm more compassionate than God.
So God says
everybody.
that. So God says in Genesis,
even if somebody murdered my family, I wouldn't want them to go to hell for eternity. I would want them to go to hell for like a really long ass time. Yeah, sure, but like not eternity. Okay. Because I'm just I'm not about that. Like I don't think that that's fair.
Because you can acknowledge that like you have flaws too. Now, anyways.
Everyone has flaws.
And you realize that you're kind of as bad as them, and that's why you don't think they deserve hell.
No.
What if you had never, ever committed a sin in your life? You've never done anything wrong. Would you still have the same view? I don't think you would.
Yes.
Because you'd be looking at people with a different perspective. You haven't lived that.
No, it's because I don't see myself as above everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. But God
because I'm not a fucking egomaniac. Shouldn't God be like not a fucking egomaniac? Shouldn't he be like, I don't know,
he wants to punish murderers and punish pedophiles.
Yeah, and
he's
that's
an egomaniac.
No.
He's in love with himself because he thinks he's better than a pedophile.
No,
Jesus was better than a pedophile. He's evil.
This is such a retarded bad faith argument. No,
how many
not what
retarded bad faith arguments have you made?
Infinite suffering is too much. The punishment doesn't fit the crime. Okay. If you want to say a lot of suffering, that's perfectly valid. I do agree that child molesters should suffer a lot for a really, really long time. I agree with that. Everybody, after death, if I'm God, I will make them experience the amount of pain that they incurred onto others. But that does not equal infinite pain, right?
That's not what the Bible even says about hell, though.
Wait, what?
Yeah, if you read the Bible, we get like some details about hell. And Jesus says that like being a child molester, hell is going to be worse for you than like someone else who commits a different sin.
And that's valid. I agree. But like
hell
for eternity though. That's that's the part where I'm like, I'm not really on board with the for eternity part. Because it's like, their human life is infinitesimally small and insignificant compared to that. Like, that's why I don't think it's fair. And I know it's hard to visualize, right? Because what even is infinity? But if you think about it, like, from a mathematical standpoint, it really doesn't make sense. Like, it's not just.
See, God knows you. And he knows you, and it's not just that, like, he like has some kind of awareness of some of the bad things you did, but like he knows everything that you think, and he knows everything that you've thought about someone else and imagined of someone else, and he sees through your mind's eye, and he sees you, and he sees all of the actions you've done in secret. And you know, when I think about like the actions that I've done, and like even if I just like exclude like being a sodomite, right? And we like just
why does God
totally
care if you're a
that.
sodomite?
Are we gonna like? Are we just gonna just jump around to different issues?
Well, no, I just
want
to know, like, why does he give a shit? Like, he seems like a fucking pussy for somebody who created the universe, don't you think?
So then why should God care about pedophilia? What's wrong with that? I mean, he seems like a
because
pussy.
Because pedophilia actually has negative outcomes.
So does gay sex, but
no,
you just
doesn't.
don't accept the negative outcomes that...
No,
and whoever has negative outcomes, you just say, well, that's not me. That's not going to happen to me. That's not going to happen to me like an alcoholic says about their alcoholism.
What is the objective and measurable harm caused by two dudes jacking each other off?
There's so much there. There's so much there. There's so much there, man. I don't even want to get into that because that's like.
Well, I can understand why you wouldn't want to argue about that because.
Because that's like how a rapist
obviously you wouldn't want to go there
right?
because it's kind of an indefensible
This is something like what a rapist thinks. A rapist is
what?
thinking about like jacking off like a dude. And that's like
what?
a sexual
rape
predator.
Means
You're like a sexual
sex,
predator.
You fucking idiot. Rape means
But like what drives someone to be a
consent.
rapist? That they're like this like hypersexual everything that they think about is sex.
It's not even necessarily
and, like,
a sexual thing. It's
demonic.
A way of getting power over people.
Yeah. So that's why they have sex.
But that's not what gay sex is about. Gay sex isn't about establishing power over somebody or fucking somebody over.
That's not what I mean, man.
But that's what you're saying.
You're getting really emotional.
Well, because you're saying stupid shit and I have to correct you.
You don't have to correct me.
Well, yeah, I do. If you're going to say incorrect shit that's, like, so blatantly incorrect,
because
it's like, I can't
No,
just
I'm not
let you
even
keep
saying
talking.
anything that's incorrect. It's just that you disagree with it.
You've claimed that there is some sort of negative outcome to two dudes jacking each other off, but you have not provided a single negative outcome. You're just like, because you won't be happy, LOL. Like, that's not a fucking argument. Like, do you not realize why you sound stupid as shit when you say that?
How am I stupid?
Because you have not demonstrated that there is any objective or measurable harm there.
There is objective and measurable harm, and you're the evidence.
Which would be?
You're the evidence.
How am I evidence?
Because you're, like, totally neurotic, bro. You're, like, not here. You're not here. You're freaking
According to
out.
What standard?
Like, over
According
nothing.
to what standard?
According to what standard? So it's like you don't even believe your own arguments.
What?
According to what standard?
What argument do I not believe?
Standard? So once you believe in objective truth, and we need to have studies and sources,
there is no such
and then on the other hand,
you
believe everything's subjective and studies provide no value, and studying the world yourself provides no value.
This is a false dichotomy.
This is a false dichotomy.
Stop.
You don't even believe in logic, bro. You don't even.
What are you fucking talking about? No, there are things that are objective when it comes to
morality.
There is no objective morality. Okay, we can create axioms, but moral axioms are not objective. That's why we have moral axioms, is because morality is not objective. Morality is subjective. The world itself may be objective, and we can use objective things in as like a means to an end, right? We can be like, here is something that objectively contradicts this moral axiom that we all accept as a society, or some shit, right? Like, but at the end of the day, the actual morality itself and our actual morals are going to be subjective to an extent. It's just we create moral axioms because they're givens.
Listen, you're a very neurotic person. You're not really like self-sure in yourself, and you clearly feel like there's something wrong with what you do.
Ad hom.
You just ad hommed me over and over again. You call me a retard. You call me an idiot. Like, that's an ad hom.
Okay, but that's not me trying to disqualify your argument.
You.
It's just me.
That
being
is
funny. It's just me being funny.
Is. And I'm just like giving insights. These aren't
like
I'm
not calling you a retard as like a way of discrediting
like
your argument. Like, I just like to insult people,
I'm giving you like personal insights from talking to you. I'm not giving you an ad hom to discredit your argument.
That's what sounds like you're doing.
All right, well, that's not what I'm doing. And you can
Are
take
you sure about that?
what I'm saying as being charitable or not. It's up to you.
I would consider it pretty uncharitable, if I must say so myself.
Well. Yeah, so like that. This is the whole problem, right? Is that like you don't want to view yourself in a negative way, and anytime someone brings up anything that's like
I'm
close
actually
to like
quite critical of
portraying
myself,
you in
but
a negative way, you freak out. Yeah, I know you're quite critical
if you
of
lie
yourself.
and make shit up, I might get mad, but like that doesn't mean
when
shit.
have I lied and made shit up?
You claimed that there is some sort of objective harm to two dudes jacking each other off. This is just blatantly false. You have not demonstrated that.
Because that's not love. You're not loving. You're not loving your neighbor.
Who are you to dictate what love is?
It's very easy to dictate what love is. And I don't dictate what love is. God dictates what love is. But anyways.
Why?
Love is like having genuine concern for someone's well-being and wanting them
you
to
can do that in a
better
homosexual
person.
relationship. This
No,
is
you
not
can't,
exclusive
because
to straight relationships.
You're not wanting their best selves. You're not trying to create their best selves. You're trying to
You don't
use
know
them
that.
as a sexual
You are asserting
object.
that. That is an assertion,
That-
and it is based off of nothing.
That is what it is. You're naturally
no,
designed
you are
to
just
have
making
children,
shit up. There's a
to
reason
have
you don't have any
children.
sources. There's a reason
You're
you don't do any.
naturally designed to
I don't
have
want
children.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah, that you're not going to be as happy if you don't have children.
So
and
you
that's
have
just, like,
decided what makes
objective.
me happy.
You have decided whatever. You decide what makes people happy. I decide what makes people
No,
happy.
I have not decided what makes people happy.
But what
I
I'm
believe,
saying is more
I believe that
objective
everybody
than
should be.
yours.
No, I believe in the concept of live and let live, because I am aware of the fact that different things make different people happy.
So why
Because I'm not a
shouldn't we
fucking
live
idiot
and let
who
live
uses
pedophiles?
anecdotal evidence and extrapolates it onto the entire human population. Because I'm actually intelligent enough to
why shouldn't
understand
we live and
that
let
different
live
people.
pedophiles?
Because there's an objective harm that they cause to children who are the
There's
victims.
an objective harm. Well, there's an objective harm to homosexuality.
No,
retard.
there isn't, you fucking retard. There is no objective harm to homosexuality.
There is. Why?
No, there isn't. There is no victim to homosexuality, you fucking moron.
That I've known carves themselves up with a razor.
You're just asserting that.
Why? Why?
Because of dumb fucks like you who want them to not exist.
It's my
because of people
fault.
like you that discriminate against them. Like,
and
what?
why was I like that when I was never discriminated against?
Okay, again.
Wonder why.
Your one experience that is the
it's just
exception and not
just
the rule.
subjective. It's just subjective.
No, I said
Shut
your
the fuck
experience
up,
is
bro.
the
You're
exception to the
stupid.
rule.
Oh
what is your SAT score then? If you're so smart, what was your SAT score?
I forget my SAT score, but I was in the 99th percentile. I remember.
Oh fuck,
so
same.
I don't know what that
I was
is.
gonna say if it's below a 1390, you shouldn't be talking.
Yeah, I know my IQ score, like actual IQ score.
I don't
not
know
like
my IQ.
online test. Well, my
online
not
tests
my online
give
test.
different results.
My
I think.
real one.
Oh,
I'm talking
yeah,
about
I
my
don't
real
know.
one though.
Okay.
Real actual
IQ test. Fair
Because
enough.
I was forced to do one because they thought I was retarded. But
I can't possibly imagine why.
But anyways, I have a 145 IQ. So there you go.
Fair enough. All right. Good job.
Anyways, but no, it's like there is an objective thing, and I think you need to like just personally, you need to like think about it for yourself.
I think you need to think about it and substantiate your claims because you've not done so. You just said gay bad because God, because the Bible, so therefore gay and trans bad. That's your entire argument, is it not?
No. I mean,
Yeah.
there's more things that I can talk about other than that. But
like
I
what?
mean, but I mean, we could get into it, but I do want to get on this point before we move on, which is that like there are objectively like things that are wrong with it. And while there isn't a study saying, and it probably is a study saying it, I don't know because I'm not subscribed to the
there's one out there
scientific
somewhere,
journal.
right?
But yeah, there is. There's studies that all contradict each other.
I'm sure
Look up the
there is.
replication
Then why don't you find
crisis.
one? Then why
Look
don't
up
you
the
find
replication crisis. I don't really put stock in studies.
Oh,
I think.
Do you think that might
Because
have
I think
something
like
to do
as a
with
person,
why do you think that might
No.
be why your opinions are so shit?
No. I think as a person, as like an individual person, you can't be basing your life on scientific studies. You have to be real. Right?
You
I'm
should base it off of a book of fables that depicts a talking snake and a
because
man who
it
walked on
works.
water. Okay. Yeah, sure. That's
'cause
way
it
more
works.
reliable than actual science.
What it recommends works. So
Sure.
so I
Just because it works for
trust
who?
it because it works.
It works for who? You or everybody?
Oh, it works for me. It works for everyone.
So if it works for
I've
you, it
known.
must work for everybody, because that makes
Yeah,
perfect
it does work
logical
for
sense.
everyone that I've known. I have friends that are atheists who converted to Christianity, and their life has been greatly improved.
Yeah, well, good for
And
them.
not
That
only
doesn't mean
but
that it
there's
benefits
tons
everybody
of
to live that way.
supernatural experiences.
Some people
that
like
they
to live
have.
different lifestyles, and that's okay. Not
Yeah,
everybody
I know you're
needs
a hedonist.
to be
we
this.
Get it. You're a hedonist.
Yeah, and
we
I
get it.
enjoy it. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, and like you're not actually happy. You're just sedating yourself to escape
No, I'm perfectly
your depression. You're sedating yourself to escape your depression.
Okay, well,
You've
either way,
already
it
said
makes me
that
happier.
earlier.
So
You're just living with depression. You don't know
No,
how to
I've
deal with it,
overcome
and you're
my depression.
sedating yourself.
I've overcome my depression. So
Okay.
co-parter, I guess.
You literally said that you have clinical depression. So how have you overcome it?
Because it's been
chemical
treated, right?
imbalance.
Like there's a treatment for it,
You're
right?
just treating it. You're just dealing with it. You're still living with it.
Are you saying that there is a magical cure for it?
Yes. Yeah.
Well,
Jesus.
then you just agree with you disagree with all of the fucking scientific data that contradicts your dumb fuck position. Do you believe that depression isn't real?
No, it's real.
Okay.
You're experiencing it, right? I've experienced depression.
Do you believe? Okay, because you're making very very similar arguments to what I would expect to hear from fucking Andrew Tate. Oh, well, if you just man up and live the correct lifestyle, then your depression will go away. LOL. That's kind of what it sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not how it
didn't
works.
Sin, you'd be happy. You'd be happy if you didn't sin.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then why am I happy whenever I sin?
I don't think you are.
Which
I
you
don't
have
believe you.
determined how exactly?
I'm a person. You're a person. We're similar.
No, we're not. We are nothing alike. Don't you dare insult me like that. Yeah. So I also wanted to ask you how because I mean you're a firm believer. You called yourself a realist, right? So you're a big fan of reality. So how does the soul interface with?
I'm real.
How does the soul interface with the brain? I would love to know.
Fucking no.
You don't know?
Just does. I think we all know it does.
It just does because the Bible.
I don't know
LOL.
what God looks like. So
well, you don't have
does
to know
that
what
mean,
God
I
looks
can't
like.
believe in
See,
God?
here's the issue
Yeah,
I
and I don't
have.
know I don't know
Okay.
what the soul looks like and
Okay,
how it
here's
connects
the
to your
issue I
brain.
have, right?
It
Is
probably
everybody
connects
well,
in
hold
your
on, hold
right
on.
hemisphere.
Everybody is born with a certain brain structure and functionality, right? For example, psychopaths are born physically incapable of experiencing empathy, and they have nothing in their brain that makes them hesitate from doing horrific things. So, is it that soul's fault that the brain is wired that way? And then
No,
they go to
God's
hell
not
for
going to judge
eternity.
them.
God's not going to judge them. So, hold on. God won't judge them for like killing a bunch of people because their brain was wired a certain way.
Well, God's going to judge them in accordance to what they could know and what they did based on what they knew.
Based on what they
I
knew.
can
But what do you mean by that?
Okay, I'll tell you what
Because
God
they might
on
know
the
it's wrong,
issue.
but there's nothing
I'll
in their
appeal to
brain that
God.
stops them, and they feel no guilt. They feel no remorse.
So, in the Bible, okay, it says, "You are inexcusable, O man, whosoever you are that judges another. For wherein you judge another, you condemn yourself. For you that judges does the same things which you judge others for." So what the Bible says about that is it says that if you judge someone for like being a homosexual and then you yourself do homosexual acts, God will judge you based on what you do.
Oh, okay.
And
Fair
if you
enough. Well,
judge
that's fair.
someone for murdering someone else and then you murder someone else, you will be judged for that murder. Now,
Okay,
a psychopath.
hold on.
I don't
This
know.
is-
I don't know that much about psychopathy, but a psychopath, if he really is incapable of empathy or incapable of understanding, like that murder is wrong, then he's not going to be judged the same way that like someone else would be.
So basically, you won't be judged so long as you're not hypocritical and judge others? Because that's what it sounds
No.
like. Well,
No,
that's...
as long as you're not aware of morality.
Okay. And what exactly would God like, how would you determine if somebody is or is not aware of morality? Would I be aware of morality when I genuinely believe, like, let's say that homosexuality is wrong for a second, okay? Let's pretend like that's some sort of objective truth. Well, obviously, I genuinely believe the contrary, right?
Yeah.
I am of the strong belief that there is nothing immoral about it. So, how would it be fair to condemn me for thinking this way, for having a brain structured and wired in a certain way that has caused me to come to that conclusion?
Well, number one, your brain isn't wired that way to come to that conclusion.
Well, everybody's brain is wired a certain way.
No.
Yeah.
There are some things that are hardwired into all people, like having a libido, having a sexual
No, actually,
drive.
that isn't hardwired into all people. It's hardwired into most people, but not all.
Oh my gosh! So there's like some people who are vegetables, therefore we can't.
No, not
It's
vegetables.
stupid.
Like there are asexual people that are perfectly fine. They just don't have libido.
No, there
They
aren't.
just don't have very much libido. Now, obviously, there's an
No.
ace spectrum, but no, we're not all hardwired to be the same.
That's not how your sexuality gets formed, bro. You
Wait,
need
no,
to do
there
more
are people
research.
that just don't have libido. That is a thing.
No, it's not. All
Yes,
people
it
have
is. You're
libido.
just
They have
denying
sexual
reality.
trauma. They have trauma, and they're
How do you
avoiding
know if
sex
they have
because
trauma
sex
or not?
brings back trauma. Well, just look up like sexual imprinting, which is a thing that is seen in all animals.
Are you gonna have a
Sexual
source?
imprinting.
No
Sexual
way.
imprinting is a phenomena seen in all animals. Okay, in all animals, that an animal will decide what its mate will look like and how it will be based on what their parents look like. So they will decide what is desirable to them based on how they were raised and what they were raised to like be like.
Sure.
And then they will choose a partner that exhibits those traits.
Sure.
And
I will say that, yeah, obviously your environment is going to help shape what your values are and what you look for in a person. And I get where you're going with this. Like, I understand that, like, yeah, like, your environment is going to influence that. But I don't think it is necessarily fair to say that that is the only possible scenario in which somebody doesn't have a libido. Like, I think that that's kind of just blatantly false. Like, sure,
yeah,
there might,
I mean, like, if they're
there might be
castrated.
no,
If
not
they're
without being
castrated.
not even that. Without being castrated, like
If
there might be a
you have
perfectly healthy individual who just has a
functioning-
low libido. Like
I don't know, man.
I don't like. Sure, maybe there are some people that are against having sex because they have sexual trauma or some shit. But like, there are people that are born without much of a libido, or if any at all. Like, I'm not saying this is like common, and I'm not saying that this is the rule rather than the exception. However, like, we can't just pretend like these people don't exist. I mean, they're still people. They're human beings that are supposedly created in God's perfect image. So,
Okay.
and when God creates human beings, because He's omnipresent and all-knowing, He creates human beings knowing that He's setting them up for failure. He knows what human beings will and
We're not
won't
set up for
inevitably go
failure.
to hell for eternal suffering, right? So he is
Oh.
intentionally creating suffering
Yes.
when He creates people a certain way.
Does God create people a certain way?
I mean, isn't it a Christian belief that God creates everybody in His own perfect image?
That's a Christian belief, and there's like some Christians that believe you have to like cut off your foreskin to go to heaven. So
Right.
like,
Well, I don't know. Like,
just because
I
Christians believe that doesn't mean
Doesn't
that's
mean
like
you
what
do?
the Bible teaches.
Okay, so you
Doesn't
don't
mean that's
believe
what
that.
the
Okay, well,
Bible teaches.
I did not know that. I will
So-
concede that then. I thought that, I mean, that was what I mean, that was what I was always told when I was a Christian. So I used to believe that everybody
Yeah.
was created perfectly in God's image, right? So this is the first time I've heard a Christian say that God doesn't create people in His own perfect image. So
People are created in God's image, but that doesn't mean what like you think it means. So it doesn't mean like, oh, you're like perfect the way you are, which is like what like, people
Right.
understand that to
No,
mean.
I get that.
What the Bible teaches by being made in God's image is that we are similar to God. So you are like a mini God, basically. You are a God. Yeah, mini God.
Woo, I'm a mini god.
Is
I'm
that a Minions
Femboy. I am
reference?
Femboy Jesus. I am Femboy Jesus. Let's go.
Yeah, but you actually are. You are actually made to be similar to God. So we are similar to God in the sense that, well, number one, God has emotions. We have emotions. God can speak. We can, like, these are like very obvious, but the less like obvious things are like kind of grander in scale, is that God is all powerful, right? So God can do what is called creation from nothing,
Right.
right? So He can create things without like, He can just imagine something totally new that no one had ever come up with before and make that.
Right.
So we can do the same things that God can. We have this all powerfulness, but we're limited to the sandbox that we're in.
Right.
So you are omniscient, you're all powerful, but you're limited in choice of what you can do. But anyways, to get back to like this whole like, well, why are people born a certain way, and why God, that doesn't, when it says that you're made in the image of God, that doesn't mean that like all people are perfect and that like they don't have like
I'm
problems.
not saying, I don't mean literally
that
perfect,
are
but
objective problems.
Well, I don't mean like objectively perfect or anything. What like I'm aware of that. Like when I used to believe that everybody was created in God's perfect image, what I believed was not everybody is perfect, but that people being imperfect is a part of God's perfect image, right?
No.
Which is obviously kind of contradictory, but that was what I was kind of taught when I was
So
when I believed that.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, so the Bible, what it says, okay, is that God created man as in like the archetype of man is perfect and it's in his image, and all people share this commonality. Like all
Wait, you just went silent. Hello? Can you hear me?
my mic died. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you again.
We're just gonna have to have shitty audio till my mic fixes.
Ah, it's fine. No one will even notice, probably, I'll bet.
Hello?
Ah,
Can you hear me?
hello. Greetings and salutations.
Pee pee poo poo.
Pee pee poo poo indeed.
Okay. So anyway, so we're created perfectly in God's image. But it doesn't mean like you're without flaw or you're
Right.
like
No, I
you
know
don't have.
that.
And so God doesn't necessarily intend always that people are going to be born with disabilities.
Okay.
The biblical narrative is like a lot more complicated than most people
Your mic died again. I can't hear you, by the way. Oh. I hear clicking.
You can't hear me?
Now I can hear you. Now I can't hear you. You fucking... Bruh. So, chat, the weather do be nice, huh? The weather really do be weathery today. Oh, are you back? You back?
This is so bad. My mic's
I'm sure it'll be fine. No one will even notice.
I'm just gonna use my other mic because this fucking mixer, my audio mixer, is broken. But anyways,
it's fine.
Back to what we were talking about. So, the biblical narrative, okay, starts in Genesis. God creates the world. God creates Adam and Eve, and God is the king, and Adam is the son of God. And Adam rules over the earth from the right hand of God, right, in Eden. And God gives Adam dominion over the world, right? So God is all powerful. Really, in reality, God is the king of everything.
Right. Well, yeah, I know that. I know a good amount of...
He gives Adam dominion over the world. He basically puts him in a position as the god of this world.
Correct.
So, but then what happens? You know the story. The Satan comes, and Satan gives them, this conflicting information with what God gives them, and says God's not trustworthy. You can't trust God. He's a liar. And this is the real reality that you're not going to die if you eat the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil. There's nothing bad's going to happen to you. And so they eat it, and God returns, and God sees what they've done. And so God accepts that they no longer trust him, and so he acts accordingly, and God withdraws from earth. The humans, we said, God, we don't like you anymore. We don't want you to be ruling over us. We trust the devil more than we trust you.
Well, I feel like it's not their fault that they were manipulated. I mean, like, it's like, how do they know, like, who is a reliable source of information, right? It's like a he said, she said situation, right? It's like, how do they know that, like, the devil isn't trustworthy? It's like, I feel like that's, like, the devil's fault. Like, I don't know.
Is it the devil's fault? It is the devil's fault.
Yeah, the devil is like an evil manipulator or whatever.
We were well informed enough to make a decision.
Yeah, but, like, I feel like, I don't know. It just seems kind of weird that, like, wouldn't it just be easier to just not have, like, a forbidden fruit? Like, if we're all similar to God, like, surely God would be aware, oh, well, they're all, like, they're also gonna be contrarians just like me, or whatever, because, if we're all... if we're all a reflection of God, then God is a contrarian. At least to an extent, right?
To an extent, yeah. But anyways, but see, God, we're like God, and God has the ability to choose not to do evil. And he has not chosen to do evil. God has chosen to do good rather than evil. But God has the capacity to commit evil. And so we're the same. We have the power to only choose to do the right thing, but we do have the power to choose to do evil too.
I agree.
And so God, he didn't make us and put us in this world as a test. Right? Like a lot of people think that this world is like a test and God trying to see like, will you be a good person or will you be a bad person?
That's what it does seem like.
Well, that's not why we're here. That's not what
No, I don't personally buy into it. I used to buy into that. Like, not even because I was told to, but I kind of came to that conclusion on my own before I realized this whole religion thing really ain't for me. But like, yeah. it was because it's like, it seemed, because if our time on Earth is, like, proportionally speaking, infinitesimally small compared to the afterlife, like, it feels like it is almost like a test, because it's like, what happens here is almost irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. It's like, why should the next 500 billion years of my life be dictated by what I do with the first 80, right? Like, it doesn't seem very reasonable to me. Like, it's because of things like that, and because it's like, where do you draw the line? When, like, for instance, you know, you could argue, oh, well, you know, you're choosing to sin, and you're aware that it's like a sin or some shit, so you will be condemned, but this psychopath won't be, because them not being able to experience empathy is an immutable characteristic. But like, what if me being rigid and not wanting to believe in God, let's say, is an immutable characteristic or some shit, because I have autism? Am I now exempt? Like, where is the line drawn?
Yeah. If that was really like the reality, then yeah, God won't judge you.
See, so okay, because like, I've always been like,
God's not gonna send someone with Down syndrome to hell because they're
yeah,
not
well, obviously not somebody with Down, like, obviously, right? But like, because like, if you don't know, like I have autism, right? But like, autism is a spectrum, and you might not even be able to tell that I have autism, because I sound normal enough, right? Like, I am able to articulate myself fairly well, but that doesn't mean I don't have autism. So am I, like, do I have enough free will to you know, be condemned to hell? Like, what even is free will, right? It's like, how much of what happens in your brain is pre-programmed? Because I know that everybody is every human being is conscious, right? At least to an extent. But that doesn't necessarily mean that everything that a human being does is necessarily a choice. And even if you think it is, even if you think, well, now that you've said this, I'm going to do the opposite of what I was going to do tomorrow, now that you've told me this, it's like, but that is only a circumstantial thing. That is how your brain would react to that exact circumstance every single time, because that is how you think. That is how you are wired. And you are wired by both your biology and by the people around you, right? It's like all of these different variables that are outside of your control. And like, let's say you're born into the life of a terrorist, and then you do all this fucked up shit, right? And you know, you were one of the people that flew an airplane into the Twin Towers, let's say. Well, okay, you know, maybe you'd think, oh, you'd go to hell for that. But if that same soul was put into a body of somebody in completely different circumstances, then they wouldn't go to hell. So it's all just a matter of circumstances, right? Like,
no, it's not.
It seems like it is.
No, because...
Or let's say the soul of a I know you brought up... I think we all agree that pedophiles are, like... I think we all agree that child predators are, like, some of the worst people, right?
Yeah.
So, in an alternate reality, let's say that the soul of a child predator is born into a body that is not attracted to kids. Like, it doesn't have a brain that finds itself attracted to kids. And that brain has a really...
Nobody's
Stop!
Born
Stop!
Being attracted to kids. Nobody's born being attracted
Well,
to
it's
kids.
a paraphilia. It is a paraphilia. It ends up...
What that means, man.
Okay, either way, it's like, if they are born with a brain that has, like, is super empathetic, and then they don't have that paraphilia, then they end up being a good person, even though it is the same soul. Because it is being put into different circumstances, the outcome is completely different. So, is the soul, like, does the brain dictate the outcome of the soul, or does the soul dictate the outcome of the brain?
They work together.
So, you don't believe that the soul entirely dictates the outcome of the brain, right?
No.
So how much control does the soul have over the brain?
You decide the outcome.
But what is me? What constitutes as me?
Well, I'll tell you. So if we're talking about the Bible gives us some good information about it.
Well, I want to hear what you have to say about it, not the Bible.
Well, what I have to say is the Bible.
All right,
so,
fair enough.
I'm a Christian fundamentalist.
All
so
right,
I
all right.
Would
If you
just
have
rephrase
to.
this, but so the Bible says that God made people with two parts. So there's your flesh. Your flesh is your physical body, your bones, your skin, your meat, right? Your brain. And then you have
your
a
penis.
Spirit. Yeah, your penis, yeah. And your yeah, all that, yeah. So
your left
your
ball,
body,
your
your
right
flesh.
ball, your middle ball.
Your right eyeball, your left eyeball too. But anyways, so then
your
and you
butthole.
have a spirit imbued into this flesh body. And these are two different parts of a human. So you have a flesh part, you have a spirit part. And, that's pretty obvious. Like, you feel things. You have a spirit. You're not a robot. So, it says here that God gave us the flesh. And the way it works, and the way the spirit works with the flesh, is the flesh lusts against the spirit. And the spirit lusts against the flesh. And these things were made to be contrary to one another, so you cannot do the things that you would. So the way that at least I understand that, what that means, is that your body, right, your physical body, it has its own lusts, right? You lust to have sex. You lust to eat food.
I be getting all the bitches.
Do whatever. You lust to, whatever. Feel pleasure, essentially, right? It's hedonistic pleasure.
Yeah. Hedonistic
then you
pleasure.
Have a spirit, and the spirit is the part of you that wants to be an artist. And it's the part of you that wants to do good things and help humanity and, like, be a good person.
Can't you do both?
So you have the spirit in you. What?
Can't you just do both?
Yeah, I think that if you follow the spirit totally, you'll actually achieve max hedonistic pleasure. You'll actually be happier being solely a good person following the Bible than you will being a degenerate.
But you can be a good person while being a so-called degenerate.
No, you can't.
Yeah, you can. Are you saying I'm a bad
you're
person?
Turn into a rapist. Yeah,
I'm gonna turn into a rapist. Do you not see why that's a bit of a stretch?
No.
Is this like, are you trolling?
Were you always a femboy? Were you always a femboy?
Not always.
So, yeah.
Wow.
So, but they lust against each other. They have contrary wills, right? It's kind of like you have an angel on your shoulder, a devil on your shoulder. That's the spirit and the flesh.
Yeah, I satisfied both of them.
God made you this way so that you would have the drive to follow God, but you would also have a reason not to follow God.
So is it my fault? Well, hold on, I have a question. Well, hold on. Why is it my fault if the reason not to is greater than the drive to do so? Because no matter what, like, I'm just given a greater reason to...
It's never. That's not...
Well, clearly it is, because I go for that reason.
You just don't believe. You just don't believe.
Yeah, because there hasn't been sufficient evidence to prove the existence of God.
Do you personally make choices? Have you ever been conflicted about anything in your life?
No, I let everybody make choices for me.
So you have free will. People like get in like all these like philosophical, scientific book cuck traps.
Okay, well no, we don't.
It's like you
because
have free will.
But to what extent? To what extent though?
You make
because when your brain operates, yeah, but what are those decisions based off of? They're based off of the chemical reactions that occur within your brain. You may think that you are completely autonomous, but you're not. Your brain functions a certain way, whether you realize it or not. And your thought process, and therefore your decision-making process, is dictated by that process in of itself. Whether you realize it or not, just because you are conscious and can experience emotion and can experience the decision-making process doesn't mean you have full control over it. You may think that you do, and you may have some control, but I don't think that there is a such thing as complete free will.
Yeah, you don't have complete free will. If you had complete
I don't
free
think
will,
it's close.
You'd be able to fly.
Well, I don't even think it's not just that. I don't even think it's like in terms of making reasonable decisions.
So you can't decide not to rape someone. You can't decide not.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying.
My flesh is forcing me.
Well,
to
no.
rape this woman.
Well, no. But if somebody's no. If somebody's brain produces If somebody's brain produces a certain chemical reaction that causes them to have a certain thought process that causes them to come to the conclusion that they want to rape somebody, I mean, obviously, I'm not using that as a justification for their actions.
It wasn't their choice. They had no choice.
No,
that is a justification
but
for
you're taking what I'm saying out of you are deliberately misinterpreting what I'm saying. I'm obviously not saying that it's just it's like they're a magnet to a little 9-year-old's penis. Like obviously like they are physically capable of making the choice, right? In terms of the chemical reactions that happen in their brain, to what extent is that within their control is what I am actually trying to ask. That's what I'm really trying... Because, again, I'm not saying that we have absolutely zero free will whatsoever. I'm just saying I don't think we have as much as you would intuitively think.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I just think, like, I personally think you're on the right track. You need to think about it, like, more, because, like, we agree on that.
Okay, good.
I believe, like, you've played Fallout before, right?
I have not.
You haven't played Fallout 3 or Fallout?
No.
Have you played Skyrim?
No. I've mostly...
Have you actually not...
No, dude, okay, you're not gonna believe me when I say this, but I used to be a swimmer. So I had to swim for 4 hours every day, when I was from middle school all the way till the end of high school. It was before middle school I started, actually. So, with all of the athletic shit I had to do, like, I didn't have that much time. So I kind of stuck to Minecraft for the most part, because I didn't have time to try anything else, you know?
Okay. Well... Alright, have you, like, at least, like, watched, like, a Let's Play of any of those games?
No, because I also didn't have time for that either.
Not even in recent time have you looked at any of that stuff? Okay,
no.
Whatever.
Because recently I've been grinding for YouTube. I wanna get 1 million subs. I mean, come on.
Well, anyways, if you play Fallout, you have dialogue options when you talk to someone. You can choose what to say, right? And so, basically, in Fallout, there are multiple endings at the end of the game that are based on your choices. But you don't have total free will. You're limited to the choices that are presented to you.
No, I get that.
But in the choices that are presented to you, you have free will to decide.
But that decision-making... But I am saying that even the decision-making process itself is not within your control 100%. What I am saying is that not only is it like a multiple choice type of thing, I am also saying that even the decision-making process, because everybody thinks a certain way, and they're you know, they have a certain type of thought process, that is going to heavily influence, inherently, the conclusions that they come to.
Okay.
I'm not saying that they have absolutely zero say. I mean, we are, in fact, conscious and autonomous beings, at least from an outside perspective.
You're adding nuance, but you're not actually... You don't believe that.
What don't I believe?
Because the reason you brought this up is to discredit the idea that we have free choice. And that we can make decisions to do the right thing.
Well, I'm saying that there's like a spectrum.
So you're not saying that there... So listen, you're not actually... You're lying right now. I'm not like saying that would be rude and like discredit you. But you're not realizing it, but you are. Because if you really believe that we had some semblance of free will, then you would agree with me. But you don't agree with me on this one point. Because
I think free will. I think free will is kind of like a spectrum, right? Same with consciousness, right? I believe that like like some animals are like conscious, but they're not as conscious as humans, right? Like there's a spectrum. Mm-hmm. I believe the same thing when it comes to free will. Like how much of your thought processes just happen automatically? A lot of them, actually. And it's like one of those thought processes that can sort of happen automatically could be the decision-making one. Depending on how much time you spend even thinking about decisions, or whether you realize but if you don't even realize the importance of thinking about decisions, it's like you're just gonna automatically make them or not make them at all, right? Like, but so
nobody does that. Nobody does.
You'd be surprised. Fuck, even I do that sometimes. Like shit.
No, I think people have a lot more control than they like to say they do. And that's my personal opinion.
In terms of the emotions that are produced by their brain and what they actually think, okay, there are two components that we do have at least some control over, and that is our thoughts / mindset, which we have some amount of control over, and our behaviors, right? But we don't have control over our emotions or other people's behaviors or whatever, or all of our circumstances. So when it comes to making decisions, though, the types of thoughts and the types of behaviors that we will inherently try to go towards, right? At least most of the time, are going to be ones that maximize positive emotions. Now, I'm not saying this is the end-all, be-all, right? Obviously, there's more nuance to it than that. But generally speaking, right, we do things to make ourselves happy.
Yeah.
And that is like the default state of being, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But what makes different people happy is different.
Yeah.
Including your sexuality, even. You know, it's like...
Actually, no, that's wrong. I don't think that's true. I think that
Why?
All people could argue, like, if they were put into the right circumstances, and they would, like, you could take, like, someone else's brain and, like, put it into, like, your body and make them, like, live through exactly the same, and it would probably turn out pretty similar to you.
Yeah, true. Like if they were given the same brain, and body and circumstances as me,
different brain, same body. Different brain, same body. They would come to the same conclusions, probably similar conclusions.
No.
Yeah.
I disagree. No. Well, if your brain functions differently, then you're gonna think differently. Like already.
That's like our main point of disagreement, though. That's
not everybody thinks the same way.
Currently coming back. But everyone does think the same way. Everyone thinks pedophilia is bad.
Not, well, I mean, most people do, but actually, technically not everybody.
Technically not. Shut the fuck up, dude. We're not.
Obviously, pedophiles don't think it's bad.
Of course, there's one person in the world who thinks raping kids is cool. Okay?
Right, but what I am trying to say here is that
autistic.
Okay?
You need to stop being autistic.
What do you want me to do? Undiagnose myself? Like,
yes.
Well, Jesus. No, but like what I'm saying is obviously that's like a very like extreme example, right? But we all start like in terms of like what we collectively believe versus what we independently disagree on, right? Like there's a certain point where like people start to disagree on things, right? And people think very differently, okay? I would say my thought process is very different from yours, right? You could say that perhaps they are in contrast to one another. I mean, yours led you to Christianity. Mine led me away from it.
Well, mine led me away from Christianity first before it led me to Christianity, so.
I mean, fair enough, and like I'm fine.
And I stopped being a Christian for the same reasons you stopped being a Christian, so.
I mean, fair enough, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with just peacefully living your life as a Christian. There's nothing wrong with that. I believe in freedom of religion. As much as I like to make jokes like, oh, haha, you believe in a talking snake. Like, that's all in good fun. That's just for shits and giggles, right? Like, that's not my, like, actual argument, right? But I think that when it comes to sort of... I feel like it seems kind of... I don't know. I don't think it benefits anybody if when people try to assert their worldview onto other people's lifestyles, right? I think that everybody deserves to be respected and free to live whatever lifestyle they want. I am completely opposed to things like theocratic regimes. I think that the state and the church should have nothing to do with each other. I don't think that religion should have any bearing on law whatsoever. You know, I think that ultimately, what maximizes the most positive outcomes is live and let live, until there's a good reason not to, okay? An axiom I really stand behind and will defend to the death is every single action is justified as a freedom until there is a logical reason for it not to be. And I will stand by that, like, till the day I die. So...
I don't stand by that.
Well, I know you don't, but I do.
I think live and let live leads to suicide.
I haven't committed suicide, so I think I'm good.
That's where it leads, because instead of being invested in like other people's lives and like
by forcing them to live lives they don't want to live, you think that you think
instead of just live and let
so
live,
you think that forcing trans people to go in the closet, which increases their suicide rates, by the way, it has been statistically proven, is something that will make them happier?
No, that won't help them. I think what will help them is making them, well, not making them, but taking them through the like thought process of self-knowledge and coming to the understanding of why they're trans.
Yeah, that doesn't do shit.
Is because they went through sexual trauma.
Okay, so why is it? So why is it?
Christ.
Okay, so why is it then that all of the scientists, psychologists, psychiatrists, and medical institutions collectively agree that gender-affirming care substantially decreases the suicide rate of transgender people when they are given gender-affirming care? Do you think it's just a coincidence?
Answer your question with a question. Why is it that like almost 80% of scientific studies, especially in these particular fields, cannot be replicated?
What are you talking about? What scientific studies are you referring to?
Look up the replication crisis on Google.
Okay, I will look into that. But either way, I don't think that like when we're looking, okay, but when we're talking about peer review studies, when we're talking about peer
review studies, that's what we're talking about.
Okay,
they can't be replicated, especially in sociology.
Not necessarily. I think that when it comes to when it comes to the studies on you know, the well-being of trans people before and after receiving gender-affirming care, yeah, I think you can replicate those results. There might be a little bit of variability. It might change a little bit over time, but overall, it's going to come to the same conclusion time and time again, because there are so many different studies on trans people and gender-affirming care and its efficacy, and they all lead to the same conclusion, okay? This isn't just one study from bigpharma.com or transpeoplegood.com, okay? These are many studies from a multitude of completely different independent sources that, you know, study these things professionally, and through different means are able to come to the same conclusion every single time. Yeah. I don't think it's just a silly coincidence at that point.
And lots of studies said, like, smoking cigarettes are, like, chill, and it won't give you cancer.
When? Where? And why?
In the 50s. Why? Because they were paid by tobacco companies to promote that they don't give you cancer.
Okay, so first of all, I would need. I don't know too much about anything from the 50s. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not old enough, but and maybe I should research into that. I personally haven't heard of that one, so I'll have to look into that because nobody else has ever brought that up. So I think that that's a very interesting point to make. But I don't think that it's necessarily that, I don't think that every time and I do think that there are issues with the medical institution, by the way. I'm not, like, denying that. I think that some medications are, like, overprescribed, blah, blah, blah. You get the point, right? But I think in general, in terms of the actual studies that are being conducted, right, like, they don't just, like, lie about random shit, right? Like, there is a standard for how these procedures are. Because, okay, if there are no, like, because surely by now, there would be, like, counter evidence, right? There would be counter evidence to
counter evidence.
Where is there counter evidence to the efficacy of trans people? And don't
I don't like save this.
Are you gonna
have,
like I feel like you're probably gonna, like, lie about the Swedish study. That's my guess. That's what every conservative
does. I don't even know what the Swedish study is.
Okay, so then the source is literally just your imagination.
Well, that's, like, all you're sourcing this whole time. I mean, have
no,
you,
it's not.
Provided studies?
Well, you told me you didn't want me to provide studies. If you want, I can start.
Not, like, but, like, you're complaining about it.
If you would like, I can.
I need to provide a study for, like, everything that I believe.
If I ask you to provide a study to prove the contrary, because the argument I'm making, like, is that all the scientific consensus says X, Y, or Z, and you're saying that that isn't the case, surely there would be some sort of counter evidence to that, right? But the reason that I haven't like shown any sources on screen is not because I don't have any. It's because you don't care if I have sources or not. You don't give a shit, so it's not gonna. So it doesn't matter if I show you because you're not saying that I'm lying about the sources. You're just saying, oh well, the sources are wrong because I said so. LOL.
Yeah.
Well, that's a stupid argument. Somebody who doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about, no offense, who doesn't know anything about psychology, who isn't a scientist, who isn't a psychiatrist, you think you know better than people who do this for a living. Why?
Yeah, I do.
You know nothing about the field, though.
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, I'm sure you know better than all the doctors. Yeah, you are smart. Yeah, you're just smarter than all the doctors and all the psychiatrists and all the psychologists.
If you were putting a logical fallacy pill earlier on me, you're committing a logical fallacy right now.
How?
Bro. It's called appeal to authority.
That's
a logical fallacy.
No, it would be a logical fallacy if the authority I was appealing to didn't deserve that position of authority on the topic. So if somebody has earned themselves that position of authority when it comes to talking about certain scientific facts because these are the people that actually research this stuff and actually look into this and do studies.
My experts, my high priest, the priest told me. Oh my god.
Wait, what? No, when experts, the best people who are the best at using the scientific method to come to the most accurate position, I don't understand how you think that, oh yeah, this archaic 2000.
You're letting other people that think for you. You're letting other people think for you.
Isn't that what people who read the Bible does?
No.
And no, I actually read what the studies have to say, and you know,
you should read,
look at what the actual numbers mean. I look at what the numbers mean.
Shakespeare. You should read Shakespeare.
What?
Get a lot more out of that.
No, I've read Romeo and Juliet, and it's dog shit.
You should read Iliad. You should read the Iliad.
No, I'm good. I don't like Shakespeare. I'm sorry. I cannot get through his shit.
Yeah. So you're not a real person. You're just dumb.
How?
Shakespeare had a greater understanding of human psychology than any therapist today.
That's cap.
Nietzsche had a better understanding, and the Bible has a better understanding.
The Bible does not have a better understanding. I'm sorry.
But how doesn't it?
Well, why is it proven that the most effective methodology for psychologists to use when when they're practicing their job is not the shit from the Bible? Why? Surely, if the Bible was so effective for improving people's mental health, by now all the psychologists would have everyone would have figured it out by now. Surely, with all the people that research this, surely there would be some study that proves that that, oh yeah, Christians are 20 times happier than atheists.
I think there actually are studies that say
there aren't.
Exact thing.
I think there's a study that says that that atheists and Christians are of similar happiness levels, but again, I don't. You would have to show that Christians are happy.
The reason why therapists don't use that is because therapy is an alternative to Christianity, and that's its whole point of therapy. It's an alternative to actually obeying God. And rather than obeying God, you just take a bunch of pills and a bunch of bullshit, and that's the alternative to religion.
Okay.
And why is it that they invented this whole thing rather than just doing the right
you don't
thing,
think
right?
You don't think that religious people can get therapy?
No, you don't need therapy.
You don't think that there are any religious people that are depressed?
No. Well, okay, what do you mean, religious people? Or
as in Christians? You don't think there's a such thing?
If you're a Christian by the Bible's definition, then no, you don't need therapy.
Okay, then why was I so fucking miserable when I was an adamant Christian? When I was an adamant Christian, I wasn't just I kind of vaguely believe and I go to church because my parents send me there every Sunday for Sunday school, ooh woo. That wasn't me, okay? I genuinely and wholeheartedly at the time believed in it, right? I was very passionate about it, actually.
Were you?
Yes, I was.
So how do you get to heaven?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think heaven exists.
You don't even know. You were a Christian, but you don't know how to get to heaven.
It depends on what denomination you're from. There are some.
Hold
on. There are some denominations that that believe that just believing in God is all that matters. Whereas what I always believed was that the most important thing is being a good person.
Yeah.
But I also valued faith as well back then. So it wasn't just one. I valued all of those things a lot. So
yeah.
I don't think it's fair to sit here and tell me that you just weren't praying hard enough. LOL.
No, that's not what I'm telling you. That's not what I'm
Okay.
telling you. What I'm telling you is that you didn't practice the Christianity prescribed by Jesus.
Yes,
You
I did.
practiced you practiced a Christianity that was prescribed by scholars. The same way you're now
Well, it wasn't by
practicing
scholars.
philosophies created
No,
by
it wasn't by
scholars.
scholars. No, it was
Yeah, they were religious scholars, but they're scholars. You were probably like what denomination were you a part of? Just for
Lutheran.
curiosity.
Lutheran. Yeah.
Lutheran, yeah. So Lutheranism was created by a guy named Martin Luther. Martin Luther was a monk, priest, religious scholar, and he didn't like actually practice Christianity. He practiced like religion. I'm talking about Christianity, what Jesus prescribed.
So what issue do you have with that denomination in particular?
It's not what Jesus prescribed.
So what is the difference between what it prescribes and what Jesus prescribed?
So I can tell you what Jesus prescribed. If you want the differences, like Martin Luther believed that like babies are evil. so that's like
I
one
was never taught
difference.
that.
So well yeah, but so like it's just like so what the Bible teaches. Do you like really want to know? Because I could like get into that if you want.
Sure,
Um,
but like I think that the point is, right?
I
Like
think
I
it's
don't
important. I think it's important because
right, but
what we're
like
talking about is that Christians don't need therapy, right? But we have to define what a Christian is,
okay, so
right?
you
And
don't
so
think that so you think that all of these other denominations aren't real Christians then?
yeah,
Even though it's like super similar and
no, they're not
worships
similar.
the same God. It worships the same God and the
No,
same
yeah, but
okay.
like Christianity, we have so right. Christianity allegedly comes from one guy who was named Jesus, and it's called Christianity because he had the title Christ in Greek. And this one guy had particular teachings. And while we don't know, like, did he really rise from the dead? You could debate that. You don't know, did he really perform these miracles? We do know that, like, his followers wrote things down and they wrote down what they believed about him.
Sure.
So, if we want to go, what is Christianity? Well, who would be the best people to get, like, an exact definition? It would be the people who knew the Christ and who
Sure.
can tell us what the Christ believed and what they believed about the Christ, right?
Okay, no, that's fair. And I think that um like yeah, yeah, if you're going to take a fundamentalist approach, yes, that would be the conclusion.
Yeah.
I don't think that
So,
I don't but okay, but I don't think that most denominations are too far off from that.
oh, they're
Like
you'd be
they do
surprised.
adhere to the Bible
No,
pretty
no,
at least
they
somewhat
don't.
strictly, right?
No, I've done a lot of deep diving in this because I'm a Christian, so I really looked into like all these different denominations. And
Okay.
most churches that you go to are essentially just like scams to get money.
So
That's all
why
they are.
so do you believe that it is important to go to church?
Yes.
So what church would you go to?
One that teaches Christianity.
Okay. Interesting. Because I don't know how.
There's some Catholic churches that teach it. There's some Lutheran churches. There's some Baptists, but then you can find another Baptist church that teaches heresy. You can find a Catholic church that teaches you all kinds of crazy shit.
Well, I don't think I was
Uh,
ever taught anything crazy.
oh,
It
you
was
were because your view of how to get to heaven is wrong according to the Bible.
what?
So
What's
yeah,
my view and
I
how
want to
does it
get into
differ?
that. Well, you believe that like you just gotta try to be a good person and believe in Jesus a little bit, and you'll go to heaven,
No, a
right?
lot. No, I believed in him a lot.
Believe in him a lot, okay, right?
Yeah, I don't
So
anymore, but I used to.
what what does the Bible say? I would really like recommend like if like read like the book of John or something if you ever feel inclined to like look
I
back in
probably
that. Just like
will.
read it the whole way through. Like the Gospel of John. You can like get it for like for free on the internet.
Yeah,
Especially
well,
if you want to like debate
I probably
Christians and
will
stuff.
read
So
the entire Bible at some point, just because I am a debate bro after all.
yeah. So what the Bible teaches essentially is that after Adam and Eve fell from the garden, that God gave humanity a will. Now it's called the Old Testament in the Bible.
Yeah, I
What
know.
the Old Testament, what the word testament means is it means like a will you give to someone after you die. Okay? So that's what the word testament means. So God gave them a will that explains how you're supposed to use the property of Him, the earth, while He is departed from the earth because we sinned against Him.
I didn't sin
So
against him. Well, I
that
mean, not as Adam and Eve,
humanity, I'm
at
not
least.
talking about like literally you. You didn't commit Adam's sin. That's something a lot of Christians believe. You didn't commit
Okay,
Adam's
I'm
sin.
glad you don't believe that, because that is a
So
delusional take.
yeah, you're affected by it, right? But like it's not something you did. You're not
Why
going
is
to
it
be
fair for me
punished.
to be affected by it, though? I don't...
Well, let's just say, for example, your father was the son of the King of England, okay? And then the son is found guilty of treason, trying to start an uprising in England. So they exile him from the kingdom and say, you're no longer an heir of the kingdom, and they send him off to Australia, right? Into the prison colony. You will never be able to be the King of England as a result of what your father did, but it's not of no fault of your own.